services may be provided upon request. To ensure availability, you are advised to make your request at least 72 hours prior to the meeting you wish to attend. All public comment will be heard during item number 2 on the agenda. We will dedicate a total of 45 minutes to public comment. Members of the public will have 1 minute per agenda item for a maximum of 2 minutes total. At the request of the speaker will be given 1 additional minute for general public comment for a maximum of 3 minutes total. The order of speakers will be a speaker in this room will go first, then we will take a speaker watching today's meeting on Zoom. We'll alternate between speakers in the room and Zoom for a total of 45 minutes. Members of the public who participate in public comment are reminded they can speak to any item on the agenda or matter within the jurisdiction of the Board of Police Commissioners. Public comment is your opportunity to address the board, so you're free to express your opinion on a matter before the board and to generally express when you disagree with the other opinions expressed. However, directing your comments to other individuals who have spoken or attacking others who have expressed their opinions shall be deemed off topic and your public comment period will be concluded. Members of the public, if you choose to participate in the public comment portion of the agenda, you can participate in this meeting in a number of ways outlined on the agenda. Message for those attending the meeting in person. These meetings are regular meetings between the board, the department, and key stakeholders. Meetings of the Board of Police Commissioners are open to the public. The state's Ralph M. Brown Act affords the public the opportunity to be present at the meetings, hear the presentations and dialogue in real time, and provide feedback via the public comment period. During these meetings, there is a need for the board to carry out public business expeditiously without delays or disruptions. Members of the audience shall not engage in any conduct which causes an actual disruption of the meeting. Those attending in person are reminded that disruptive behavior will be cause for removal. If you disrupt this meeting, you will be provided with only 1 warning to cease disruptive behavior. If you fail to cease such behavior, you will be removed from the meeting. All attendees must be seated. Failure to follow this rule will result in a warning and or removal from the meeting. Before we move to the agenda, I'd like to recognize and welcome our newest commissioner, Teresa Sanchez-Gordon. Commissioner Sanchez-Gordon is a retired judge from the Los Angeles Superior Court. She was elected and presided for 21 years before retiring in 2017. Commissioner Sanchez-Gordon was born in Mexico and raised in East Los Angeles. Prior to her time as a judge, she worked as a school teacher with the Los Angeles Unified School District and a federal public defender at the United States Courthouse Central District. Commissioner Sanchez-Gordon, welcome to the commission. I'll give you the floor if you'd like to say a few words.
Happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, we welcome you, looking forward to your wisdom and your insight. Before we move on to item number 1, I just want to mention that closed session number 00624 will not be heard during closed session today. Will be moved to a future meeting. With that, we will move to item number 1, the report of the Chief of Police, Chief McDonald.
Good morning, President Southern, Vice President Shields, Commissioners, Acting Inspector General Yu, and City Attorney De La Guerra, Mr. Sibley. Today I will be discussing significant events from the previous 3 weeks, providing a crime update and discussing our personnel strength. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the recent tragic events in New Orleans and Las Vegas during the New Year holiday. These incidents are a sobering reminder that acts of terrorism can't happen anywhere without warning. As a department, we remain committed to training and preparing for such situations. We want to reassure the public that we're doing everything in our power to keep Los Angeles safe. We're closely working with our partner agencies to understand the circumstances surrounding these tragedies. The insights we gain will help us to improve our training and readiness to prevent similar incidents here in Los Angeles. Looking ahead, our city will host several major events, including the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games, and we're actively building a comprehensive safety plan to ensure these events are safe for everyone and successful. During the previous 3 weeks, we've had 3 officer-involved shootings that I will discuss briefly below. First incident is an officer-involved shooting in Southeast Division on December 26th. At approximately 1840 hours, Southeast Area Uniform Gang Enforcement Detail officers were conducting a crime suppression activity in the area of Hooper and 92nd Street. While patrolling, they observed a male later identified as the subject, David R., vandalizing a wall on the southeast corner of the intersection. In response, the officers stopped their police vehicle to investigate. Immediately thereafter, a second male, later identified as the subject, Sergio F., who was standing adjacent to David R., produced a handgun and fired at the officers. Both officers quickly got out of their vehicle and returned fire, resulting in an officer-involved shooting. The subjects immediately entered an awaiting vehicle and sped away, prompting additional responding officers to pursue them. The pursuit ended when the suspect vehicle voluntarily stopped in the city of Compton, where the driver, later identified as Kevin Diaz, and two subjects were taken into custody without further incident. Upon immediate examination, officers noted one of the subjects, Sergio F., had sustained injuries from gunfire. They provided medical aid until Compton Fire Department personnel arrived.
That's a badass right
Once
there.
Compton Fire Department took over care, Sergio F. was transported to a local hospital where he was treated for a single gunshot wound and listed in critical condition. Diaz and David R. were not injured and subsequently arrested and booked. No officers or other community members were injured during this incident, and a loaded .45 caliber handgun with no identifiable markings and a shotgun shell casing were recovered from inside the vehicle. Force Investigation Division investigators responded to the scene and are further investigating this incident. The second officer-involved shooting in Southeast as well occurred within 2 days. On December 28th at approximately 20:23 hours, two victims were standing on the north sidewalk in front of the Macedonia Baptist Church located at 1751 East 114th Street. The suspect, later identified as Kevin Doby, approached the victims, produced an AK-style rifle, and demanded their property. As Doby attempted to rob the victims at gunpoint, the victims charged him, taking Doby to the ground. As the victims and the suspect struggled over the control of the gun, Southeast Patrol Division uniformed officers were conducting regular patrol in the area and observed the group fighting. Officers deployed from their vehicle approached the group, and as they did, one of the victims yelled, "He's got a gun," multiple times. Officers broadcast a backup request and gave numerous verbal orders to drop the gun. As the victim continued to struggle with Doby, they attempted to break away, and an officer-involved shooting occurred. Doby rearmed himself with the rifle and began to run west on the north sidewalk of 114th Street when a second officer-involved shooting occurred. During the incident, the suspect was struck by gunfire and dropped the rifle underneath a nearby parked car. Officers redeployed, and after backup units arrived, took the suspect into custody without further incident. It was later determined that the victims were also struck by gunfire. Victim 1 sustained a gunshot wound to his right forearm, and victim 2 sustained a gunshot wound to his left wrist. The suspect sustained 2 gunshot wounds to his left leg and a grazed wound to his back. All parties were transported to separate local hospitals and listed in stable condition. Doby was placed under arrest for 211 PC armed robbery, a loaded black and brown AK-style rifle with a detachable magazine and 14 rounds of ammunition and a 3-inch black folding knife were located and collected as evidence. Again, Force Investigation Division responded to the scene and are continuing to investigate this incident. And the third officer-involved shooting occurred on December 29th at about 22:15 hours in Topanga Division. Topanga uniformed officers responded to a radio call of a vandalism suspect in a hotel located at 21706 Ventura Boulevard. While the officers were en route, the person reporting advised Communications Division the suspect was now holding a gun. On arrival, officers encountered the suspect, later identified as Benjamin Bradley Prince, walking in the driveway toward the street. Prince produced 2 firearms and fired at officers, resulting in an officer-involved shooting. Prince momentarily retreated toward a parked vehicle, but quickly returned fire with 1 firearm, fired again as the officers continued to return fire. Prince fled back into the hotel, and officers immediately established a perimeter around the building and requested the assistance of Metropolitan Division Special Weapons and Tactics. After Prince refused to surrender, SWAT element members, along with the Tactical Emergency Medical Support Unit from the Los Angeles Fire Department, entered the hotel and located Prince at the bottom of a stairwell. Prince had sustained gunshot wounds, and personnel from the Thames unit immediately assessed and determined that he was deceased at scene. No officers or community members were injured as a result of the incident, and Force Investigation Division investigators responded to the scene and continued to investigate this event as well. During the investigation, a Harpoon double-barrel shot air pistol located with an air cartridge in each barrel was located at the scene, along with an air rifle which was loaded with 7 rounds in the chamber. Both weapons were capable of firing metallic rounds of ammunition and were recovered and booked as evidence. We concluded 2024 with 29 officer-involved shootings, which was a 14.7% decrease compared to 34 incidents recorded in 2023. As we begin 2025, there have been no officer-involved shootings or categorical uses of force reported so far this year.
What he said in the previous one is essentially
Another
that
incident
they
of
shot two
significance,
innocent people,
and
two
was
victims of a
newsworthy as
crime.
well, was an incident on
Cop
December
showed up and just
30th
shot
at
all three people who,
approximately 8:52 p.m.
two of them
Los
victims.
Angeles police officers responded to a shooting at a shopping plaza in the 700 block of South Figueroa Street. During the incident, two security guards were shot while confronting a shoplifting suspect. Despite their injuries, one of the guards was able to return fire. The suspect was not struck and fled the scene, taking approximately $1,600 worth of stolen merchandise. Both victims were transported to the hospital for treatment. Early the
What should I
following
talk
morning
about?
on
I
December
have no idea what I'm
31st,
gonna talk about. I'm just gonna go up there and kind of riff.
began their investigation. Surveillance footage from the store provided clear images of the suspect, which were quickly distributed to the public through our media relations division. Thanks to the swift circulation of this information, a community member came forward with a tip, identifying the suspect and providing his residence, located less than a mile from the crime scene. Detectives confirmed the suspect's identity and his location. Officers responded to the residence and attempted to call the suspect out, but he refused to comply. Special Weapons and Tactics, our SWAT team, and the Crisis Negotiation Team were deployed to the scene, making numerous attempts to establish communication and secure a peaceful surrender. When negotiations reached an impasse, a Garner warning was issued and chemical agent was deployed at the location. And after a standoff lasting approximately 4 hours, the suspect left the residence and was taken into custody without further incident. A search of the residence yielded a firearm believed to have been used in the incident and items connected to the robbery. The suspect has been charged by the district attorney for attempted murder. I want to take this opportunity to commend the professionalism and dedication of our officers, detectives, and specialized teams. Also extend my gratitude to the community for their critical role in providing timely information. Together, we were able to remove a dangerous individual from our streets in less than 24 hours. Another burglary crew arrest, I think, of significance since October. Officers from Metropolitan Division B Platoon have been investigating a burglary crew linked to the Rolling 60s street gang. This crew is believed to be responsible for more than 15 burglaries in the San Fernando Valley, with prior incidents reported in Devonshire and Foothill divisions. Using advanced tracking technology and surveillance, officers monitored the suspect's movements, and on December 17th, officers were alerted to the suspect movement in Foothill division. With assistance from air support and undercover officers, 3 suspects were located and apprehended after a short pursuit that ended in Northeast Division. The suspects were arrested for burglaries, receiving stolen property, gloves, and radios tuned to police frequencies were recovered from their vehicles. A subsequent search of the suspect's residence led to the recovery of 4 firearms, a shotgun, cash, and clothing linked to the crimes. 2 additional suspects remain at large, and officers are actively working to locate them. An additional incident here involving a bicycle and bicyclists, I think of note. I want to address the recent incident in the Mid-City area involving Mercedes-Benz and multiple cyclists. This situation also included a related altercation in which the driver of the vehicle was assaulted by several individuals, and the vehicle itself was vandalized. Our detectives have a detailed report on file and are actively investigating both aspects of the case. At this time, efforts are focused on collecting additional evidence and identifying the individuals involved. We understand the community's concerns regarding incidents like this, and I want to assure you that we're committed to conducting a thorough investigation to ensure accountability and justice. As the case progresses, we'll provide updates as appropriate. Looking at the crime picture now, this is for the week ending January 4th. Over the past 4 weeks, from December 8th to January 4th, combined persons and property crimes has decreased 14.6%. This includes a 17.7% drop in property crimes and a 1.5% decrease in persons crimes. Homicides citywide have significantly decreased overall, with a 100% reduction year-to-date compared to both 2023 and 2024. However, in the most recent 4-week period, homicides increased by 33%, with 16 incidents reported compared to the prior 4 weeks. While this uptick is concerning, the year-over-year decline highlights the progress in reducing homicides. Victims shot citywide has also decreased by 33% year-to-date compared to 2024. Aggravated assault saw a slight decrease of 0.4% over the last 4 weeks. Despite this, specific divisions such as Hollenbeck, Wilshire, and Olympic reported notable increases. These areas are under close review and resources are being deployed as necessary. Robberies citywide declined by 2.1% during the same period. Burglaries, on the other hand, have risen by over 10% over the last 4 weeks, with residential burglaries increasing over 11% and non-residential burglaries by 8.6%. Divisions experiencing the largest increases include West LA, Hollywood, North Hollywood, Foothill, and Central. At this time, no significant trends or patterns have been identified, but detectives are actively working to identify suspects and address these crimes. Meanwhile, motor vehicle thefts have decreased by over 11% overall. On the personnel front, our personnel strength as of January 6th, sworn personnel, we are currently at 8,795, and our civilian staffing is at 2,678. And that concludes my presentation this morning. Open to any questions you might have, Commissioners.
Thank you, Chief. First, I'd like to start with you mentioning the events that happened on New Year's Eve across the country, New Orleans and Las Vegas, and just a reminder that they can and do happen as we have significant dates and events coming up. But I appreciate your reminder regarding the World Cup next year and the Olympics 2 years later and all of the things in between. So thank you for your constant vigilance on focusing on those kinds of incidents. On December 30th, at Figueroa and 7th Street, really appreciate the swift response of the department, you having the information shared with the community and the community's input in helping to bring that to resolution without further incident. That was a really good use of our community relations and media department, as well as the community's response in helping us find that person and not having any further incidents happen. So again, just thank you for doing that. I don't have any other comments or questions. I'm going to move to Mr. Shields for comments and questions.
Thank you. And I have some of the same comments as Commissioner Southers, so I'll skip those. But thank you for the report. I did have, some concerns about, although on a whole last year there was a 14.75% decrease of officer-involved shootings, that there was a lot of violence within the last, week before the holidays. Right before the new year.
Oh, you did the same?
Keep putting them in jail. Second officer-involved shooting. You mentioned that there were some victims that also sustained gunshot wounds at this time. I understand the investigation's ongoing. At this time, do you know whether those gunshots came from the suspect or from the officers?
Likely from the officers. The two victims are on the ground wrestling with the suspect over a rifle. The officers are trying to get these victims to move away. The suspect turned the rifle toward the officers. The officers responded. The victims were still in the line of fire at that point, but the suspect was hit during that exchange. The wounds they received, one was a grazed wound, the other was a penetrating wound, but both been treated and released.
And that whole situation will come before the commission at a later time for us to evaluate
Oh, they'll find the cops that were perfectly fine for shooting two victims.
Something we decide whether it was in policy or out policy.
Yes, and yesterday we held a 72-hour briefing on that, and that's a point where we determine whether the officers go back into the field, what their needs are, whether any identified training issues, equipment issues, tactical issues, to be able to ensure that we learn in an immediate sense and be able to correct something quickly, should we find that.
Thank you. I did also want to acknowledge that there was a death of a police officer right before the new year as well, and I want to send my condolences to the entire department and to their family members.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanchez, any comments? Thank you very
What
much.
about condolences for the people he shot?
Right.
Move on to
Right.
Item number 2 on the agenda, public comment period. Madam Secretary, please announce the first speaker.
First speaker is Tyson Shady.
Good morning. So Chief, I remember one of the first interview you did with Fox News. I remember you said one of your priorities is to increase the morale within the LAPD. You said, I think, you said LAPD morale is like historically low, and you want to increase that. I agree with that 100%. I support that. However, I want to make sure that you are also aware. I feel the member of the public, they also have a low morale. So
Yes.
in the member of the public, sometimes I interact with my neighbors, they lost the bicycle. Oh, I'm not gonna call the LAPD, waste of time, they don't do anything. Sometimes their car, let's just say they have they get a flat tire the moment they wake up in the morning, they got a window, their mirror got smashed, and I say, why don't you file a police report with LAPD? And then the morale of the public, oh, I'm not gonna do that, it's a waste of time, they don't do anything. So I support you to increase the officer morale, so officers trust you, come to you asking for support, but I also wish that let's make member of the public have more morale, so everybody, come forward, report the crime, because otherwise, tomorrow I gotta beat up on the metro train, I'm not gonna file.
Okay, I'll follow up on this guy. Tell me how I do, guys.
So, increase the officer morale, at the same time, increase the public morale. So, number one. Second is a small feedback for the metro, the transit metro officer on the LAPD metro. I was detained approximately 15 minutes. They did a tag card checkpoint or something like that. They check everybody if you have a tag card. For me, I'm a student. My student ID is my tab card. My tab card is my student ID. So it's 2-in-1 card system. And then the officer seems like is very unknowledgeable that when they ask me, what's your tab card? Which is I don't have one because my student ID is my tab card. So it takes them 15 minutes to figure it out. And then, it's not a pleasant conversation. I wish, in the future, instead of telling me, I don't need your student ID, I need your tab card now. I wish, we can have a professional, easier, more peaceful, more courteous conversation other than just yelling, I don't need your ID, I need your tab card now.
So they were
Something
anger
like that.
baiting,
So,
right?
just be aware, certain college universities, their student ID, tag card, there's 2 cards in 1 system. Let's make sure everybody understand that, because I'm not gonna file a complaint, email the chief, email the captain. I'm not gonna do any of that. But I do feel there are some certain knowledge and experience, the professionalism can be improved to provide better services on LAPD metro train, metro bus. Thank you.
Next, we have Andrew Gravener.
Very good.
All right. Items.
3 minutes.
All right, so starting off with the chief's report. The chief's report should be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes at every meeting. If the chief's report exceeds 3 minutes, we should go to match the time the chief takes. Regardless of how long the chief takes, everyone should be able to speak both in person and on the phone. So I noticed that the chief is continuing to omit important detail about that incident from a few weeks ago. So I'm wondering if you could clarify for the public record and such, when the victims were shot in that incident, where the cops shot like the armed robbery or something, the victims were shot, could you clarify who shot the victims? Would you be willing to do that for the public record here? You still haven't clarified that. So who shot the victims? Was it the LAPD officers? Did the LAPD shoot the victims? Because that's what it sounds like happened.
Yep.
Sounds like the LAPD officers shot the victims. So that's really interesting what the LAPD is doing. People safe, aren't they? All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. We have some of this stuff. I don't even know what you're getting here. Like just random schools that are just completely weird and such. Donations for the teenage indoctrination program where the LAPD tries to get teenagers to become cops while sexually assaulting them. We have, let's see, there's just so many different donations here. It looks like McDonald's taking a vacation again. You have a police dog. You're not sure how weird that place is. Is it the kennel named after Hitler's bunker? So that's usually where you get the dog. This is a kennel named after Hitler's bunker. A bunker that he hid out in to avoid capture in the World War. So I assume that's where you're getting the dog. That's usually where you get the dog. It's that kennel named after Hitler's bunker. So you have donations for the Desert Death Run. They'll pass out and have to go to the hospital on taxpayer dollars. You have college scholarships for kids of LAPD officers. So I guess if you're a kid of an LAPD officer, you get free college. Everyone go into debt for until into their 50s to go to college. So, but yeah, man, it's just, just more, and I'm sure the new commissioner is going to be just more of the same here. Yeah.
The next speaker is Audit Ali.
Good morning. I want to talk about two things. First, there was yet another swatting of anti-Scientology peaceful protesters, people who are concerned about human trafficking, senior child abuse, and cult Scientology. They are peaceful, but yet they keep getting swatted at gunpoint. This time it was one person who's been here before who's been swatted, I think 8 times now, gunpoint into his head, and a 17-year-old youth. They were not even there, but they get swatted. And then in front of their own TV, on screaming, whatever, they get swatted. We know that Scientology or their people, their affiliates, whatever, have a lot to do with it. And we've been begging for help to get to the bottom of it. I am just so glad that today that the chief's report didn't include a 17-year-old, minor reaching for his phone to call his mom, didn't get shot because an officer thinking that he's reaching for a gun. That could have been the story today. That could have been on the chief's list because no one's doing anything to find who is calling on people. I know Scientology doesn't want to be protested. I know Scientology comes to you, like Janet Wheeland and all these people there on their CPAPs. They shouldn't be on their CPAPs, telling you that the protesters are dangerous and are criminals and violent. That is a lie. All the violence is coming from the other side. And it's not fair, and they have all this power, they have all this money, and all we have is our voices. And I also want to mention another person who, would love to have been here today, but can't. She called the police, and they treated her so poorly because she was protesting there. Okay, now this is someone who was trafficked and raised and abused by this cult. Sexually abused in every manner. And left, and now she can't even say hi to her parents because they're in it, and they're not allowed to talk to her, they have to disconnect. Okay, and she called for help, and the police, because they're so poisoned, your minds are so poisoned, because all you have is Janet Wheeland on your CPAPs telling you about how horrible we are, and then, so they're treated horribly. She was in tears because somebody slashed 4 tires of her van, and she was treated horribly. This is a victim on 2 different levels, of the cult and of the cult, because they're the ones slashing the tires. These are not random people coming and slashing the tires of a protester. These are not random people calling swattings on 17-year-old kids. These are people who are either Scientology, and we've heard their voices. Is Scientology doing it, or people affiliated? Because they also hire people to fair game people. I'm being fair game, but every other protester is being fair game. And I push through any fear because, I'm not going to let them shut me up just because they want me to go away. But I'm going to keep coming here and begging, and I'm asking the chief and the commissioner, I'm trying to get a meeting, that the woman who had her tire slashed was mistreated, wants to speak to you guys. I want you to talk to real victims of Scientology.
Can I ask you
Am I
something?
nervous?
have our pocket.
Thank you, yeah, I think we all do, but, yeah, he wants to be able to talk, that's what it is. But yeah, good, obviously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Betty Lee.
Good morning.
Good morning, what items would you like to?
Am I nervous?
Each report, agenda items, public comment.
Okay, 3 minutes.
First off, I want to let the chief know that I truly appreciate his report, and I support all the donation items on the agenda. A lot of people don't realize what the city pays for and doesn't pay for, and why these donations are needed. Also, for public comment, apparently there's people out there with way too much time on their hands posting stuff on Instagram, Nextdoor, other websites.
Not the next door.
with incorrect information about LAPD officers.
Okay.
Get your information straight, stay off those sites, and we need to support LAPD.
Get your,
Happy New Year, stay safe and healthy. I yield the rest of my time.
The next speaker, Lee Jamison.
Well, that's the one, he's already, he's talking, he doesn't really.
William Good.
All right.
I'll put you first, yeah. They're going out of order. Speak off order. Hold on.
Good morning, mostly on all items. So first off, let's just be clear. You guys shot 2 innocent people. They were victims of a crime. You guys showed up and shot them. Let's make that clear. That's right. All right? You can use all your Orwellian talk. That's what happened. But I digress. So you guys are having a terrible time recruiting. If I heard correctly, your staffing is about 8,700 or something. And, I was at a CPAB meeting in Hollywood a few weeks ago. And the captain there was blaming their recruiting problems on the media. It's the media's fault. It's the media's fault. And they hired this dinosaur to fix it. And let me tell you something, your problem has nothing to do with the media. You can blame it as much as you want. Half of the population, 52% of the population are women. But 20-something% of the LAPD are women. You have a woman problem. And why do you have that? So I'm not here to try to help you guys out, but let's go over why you are having these staffing levels. The way your department abuses women.
That's right.
The women in your department come to me and ask for help. Why are they coming to me? It's not my job, it's your job. Now we have this guy in the Mission Division. His name is Philip Ruiz. And you guys, a lady came to the LAPD, and said, this guy is abusing me. He pulled me off by the hair off the bed, and by my arm. And when I broke up with him, he stalked me. And he broke into my job and went through my Rolodex to get information. And then when I went out with my new boyfriend, he followed us to the venue. When I went to the bathroom, he pulled me to the side and grabbed me by my crotch. That's a crime. That's a crime. And what did the LAPD do? The LAPD investigated it and they kept him on the force, even though I found new documents last week that he had been suspended before for abusing the same woman. The LAPD said, we are not going to fire him because since it happened against the same woman, it doesn't constitute a pattern.
Oh my God.
That's you guys. And so you wonder why women do not want to join the LAPD. Then you have Lillian Carranza. She went to the chief, the last chief, and said, you know what, I'm being sexually harassed. And he said, I'm not going to speak out against it. Why? Because I don't want it going viral. And then she went to court and won $4 million because of that. $4 million. We paid $11 million in settlements since 2019 because of these issues. I filed a complaint against Chief Moore. And what did these guys do in the commission? They said it was unfounded. We went to court, we had to pay money because of him, and they said it's unfounded. And it's enough. They don't hold the cops accountable. We can hold them accountable. All these people work in the private sector, call their boards, call their contractors and their clients, and you would ask them if this is what you expect of the people who hold the cops accountable.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Shame on all of you. All of you.
We have Steve Riley.
Shame on you women who put up with it.
Good morning, what items would you like to speak on?
All items, please. First, I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. I wish that all the officers remain safe and the entire public be safe. I'm going to start with a prayer and a pledge. This prayer is a St. Michael prayer, the patron saint of police officers. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, thrust into hell
Sir,
Satan.
your comments are off topic. Please speak to items on the agenda or items for the board or police commissioners.
You're interrupting a prayer for police officer safety.
Sir, this is not one of the police commissioners meeting, and we have an agenda. You can speak to agenda items or items.
That is my public comment, sir. Am I not allowed to pray during public comment for police officers safety? No, because it's not a religion. St. Michael is the patron saint of police officers. I think that is on topic and relevant, especially beginning in the new year.
Police department's Catholic.
So, thank you for interrupting my prayer. May I say the Pledge of Allegiance, or is that off topic also? What is on topic is you should be doing your job. And there have been many times when I've seen people interrupt the meeting and you do not do your job, President Southers, I'm talking to you. And you have the gall to interrupt me while I'm saying a prayer for police officers.
I did. My name is Jonathan Foster. I interrupted you.
Reflect. Reflect.
And repent.
There's much to say. I suggest that you take a look at the letter that was written by the Voices for LAPD. I am one of the members that collaborated on that. I am a positive force for policing, for community policing, and which is more than what I can say for the police commission at times. And we try to work as partners. As a resident of Los Angeles, I have concerns. We brought up these concerns over the last year, both verbally and in writing. We expect them to be addressed. This department has a new chief, Chief McDonald, great report, Chief, by the way. I think morale is going to improve because a lot of people in the department who I talk to have confidence in Chief McDonald. And those are your best recruiters, the officers themselves. Now, if you look at NYPD and what's going on there, I suggest you take a look and see the scandal, the overtime, sex for overtime scandal that's going on over there. So you need a man of good morality and is greatly respected. That will improve. You only had 21 recruits graduate. You need to do something to improve the recruitment and retention and stop interrupting people. Thank you.
The next speaker, Jonathan Foster.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Foster. I support the police 100%. I think they do 98% excellent service, and there's this 2% that's gross, and it's really gross. And that's all I'm going to talk about because it's gross. And I just want to say Phil Lesh did pass away, a great man for humanity. So last time I was here, Chief, I talked about Sonia Massey. She was shot by this officer. It was in Ohio. It's not here, but they also shot Takar Smith because they were holding something over their head. And what I forgot last time, which is so very important, is Officer Grayson had a dishonorable discharge from the military. Chief. He had a dishonorable discharge. Nobody should hire a police officer that was dishonorably discharged from the military. On November 26th, 24, that meeting has 4,000 views. I don't understand why. So many things I'm not going to be able to get to, and I'm going to talk about the Jose Espinoza who's rotting in jail and the money we're spending on him. It's not going to a homeless female who's homeless. It's going to Jose Espinoza, who's a criminal, illegal alien. And so I wanted to ask Mother Teresa about the 57-year-old Debrina Kawam, who was set on fire in New York City subway. So all you people that are the California Values Act, we don't need a border, let everybody stay here, should be set on fire. Everybody that says keep the border open, you need to be set on fire. Everybody that passed a California Values Act and says that an illegal alien should stay here, like one of the callers, his uncle, yeah, you need to be set on fire. This was a very nice lady. She was homeless. And we're spending money on Jose Espinoza. And now the creep that set her on fire, we're gonna pay for him. It's not going to the female that was actually homeless. And people think that I'm a creep. Rasha thinks I'm a creep. Yet I would have this money going to homeless females. Rosario Mack was on the ground, he was shot. And Soboroff says it was in policy, but that's out of policy. And this judge needs to look at what Eileen did and swept this under the rug. If you're worth anything. Because I know you're dead, just like those people over there. They're dead over there. You're dead here too. Errol, you're dead too. You haven't looked out for Jamil Shaw Jr. or the Jamil Shaw Sr. family. You're dead too, just like he's dead. Sancho Tina, he's dead.
Thank you.
Next.
We're gonna burn in hell though, that's for sure.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, yes, what items would you like to speak on?
All items.
Okay, 3 minutes.
Okay, so first I want to start by giving a bit more context to what Audit
Have a good night,
was saying about that lady the other day.
Good day.
Not only were her tires slashed, all of her locks on her van were filled with some type of glue, making it impossible to even get into her vehicle. Also, it was in front of her house. She had walked to the blue building of Scientology to protest, and meanwhile, while she was protesting, they decided to do this to her at her house as probably a way to be like, look, we know where you live. It's intimidation, all that stuff. She called the police, and it took several hours before she called them back, and she was told that they already came by, even though her and other people were outside waiting, and they did not come by. And I don't know if they ever did show up, but they kept saying, we can't send an officer out, we can't send an officer out for vandalism. That wasn't vandalism. That's like intimidation, and I don't know the technical terms, but that's totally above vandalism. Also about the swatting situation, okay? You talked about all these people that were killed. Well, like Audit said, a 17-year-old boy could have been killed on Thursday in, I think, Olympic division. He was scared to death. I heard him panicking. He had a phone on his lap, and he kept telling them that he's a minor. He kept asking if he could take the phone off his lap. And we all know what would have happened if he would have reached for that phone. And these, I don't know if it's Scientology or who it is, but whoever's doing this to the protesters of Scientology, they need to be looked into. Detective Gomez needs to be taken off of this case, and I hope that you can put someone on this case that is not biased on either side to look at this, because I don't trust that she's actually doing her job. But the SWATings need to be taken care of. You need to look into them or pass them on to the FBI. Do something, because a 17-year-old almost died for no reason. And that's not the first time that he had a gun pointed at his head. I yield my time.
The next speaker, Hassan Tran.
I hope you give me the extra minute talk today, 2 minutes, then very important, okay? Then good morning, Police Chief and everybody here. And today, January 7, 2025, I'm talking about the election President Donald Trump. The job for President United States of America to protect USA and all American people's rights and safety. When Mr. Donald Trump become the president, United States of America with the Chief Judge, Supreme Court John Roberts, Donald Trump put one hand on the Holy Bible and another hand he raised up. He swear, liar very seriously to God and all American people. Donald Trump protect big worldwide corporation, corrupt system, control USA. They benefit for Donald Trump and they support Donald Trump. Donald Trump running for president. His money doesn't care all American people, rich or poor.
Sir, this subject is off topic. It is not a matter before the board.
I know, but it's very important to the safety for all American
It is
people. I
not a
understand.
matter that will be heard by the Board of Police Commissioners.
Huh?
Please address an issue that is on topic that we can respond to. Thank you.
I'm okay talking or not? Okay. So this system broken, they doing all kind of dumb and wrong to lie, danger to all American people, killing American people everywhere, killing veteran, US military, we are a victim. They kill American people.
Sir, this is not a topic that can be addressed by the Board of Police Commissioners.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I hope he will stop for president and good for all American people and safety for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next we have Mirjam.
I want to speak on all items.
Okay, 8 minutes.
Yes. I'd like to start by expressing my surprisement on the decision to outsource the investigation of the dozens of swatting incidents targeting protesters of the cult of Scientology, particularly those involving a person going by pseudonym DOA. It is refreshing to see the issue finally receive the attention it deserves, though apparently not from LAPD itself. It's unfortunate that 2 days ago, while DOA was in Washington, yet another swatting incident occurred, once again endangering lives and wasting precious resources. Now, the case has been elevated to the Department of Homeland Security and the Metropolitan Office Department's Office of Intelligence. Perhaps we should be grateful. After all, it seems resolving this serious and ongoing criminality is beyond the LAPD's reach. But let me ask this. How is it that a city the size of Los Angeles, with all its resources, is unwilling to address what has now become a matter of national security? The people targeted by these swatting incidents deserve to feel safe, and they deserve to know their local law enforcement has their back. Instead, you've allowed this issue to escalate to federal agencies, leaving a trail of unanswered questions and a continuous threat to the community. So while I acknowledge the commendable work being done by Homeland Security and the Office of Intelligence, I have to ask, when will LAPD start doing its job? When will you take the action to protect innocent people from being terrorized? Or is outsourcing solutions now the standard operating procedure for issues you'd rather avoid? That's all.
The next speaker, Hamed Khan.
All right.
So, Errol Sellers just now silenced the previous speaker saying that the subject was off topic. And it makes you wonder that what the fuck is on topic? Because how many years we've been coming here for the last 20 years and we've been bringing them facts and figures and everything that, like, you know, that this is how people are being targeted, this is what Operation Laser does, this is what Brett Bowles' fuckery is, this is what suspicious activity reporting has done, and on and on and on. So what subject would make sense to you, Errol Sellers, where you will take real action? So let's take something for example. So there was a report in the LA Times on January 3rd about LAPD stats and statistics, right? And they talked about Estes robberies and old court cases and all of that stuff. So now, if that is going to be on topic, so let me ask you, what all have you done? Because there's a long history of LAPD misclassifying statistics, 25,000, over 25,000 of them just about 7-8 years ago. Yeah, you weren't there, but this is just what the institution is built for, as shock absorbers for the system. Then you had body cameras turned off. Then you had young kids being placed in as gang members wrongfully. Then you have wrongful, just planting of evidence, and on and on and on. And then we bring you all those statistics and more, and McDonald's, the first thing he talked about in the ordinance was, again, see something, say something. Well, let's talk about that. What has that produced? What has that stopped? For the last 30 years, we've been seeing this national security police state, intelligence gathering, data collection, and we're seeing that again. What have license plate readers done? Instead, wrongfully gone after black and brown people, instead providing information to immigration and customs enforcement. So what topic do you want us to talk about? What actions do you take? Let's talk about providing alternatives to hinder extremism. Have you heard of that program at all? Do you even know what that is? Do you even know that what's that doing to our young people? Do you even know that how their behavior is being pathologized and young people are being in schools, are being criminalized? Do you even know that counselors are being recruited? Do you even know that principals are being recruited to report on youth? Just because it's about behavioral surveillance? What topic do you want us to bring to your attention? I want to hear that. Let's talk about the expansion of the architecture of surveillance. Let's talk about stingrays. Let's talk about digital receiver technologies. Let's talk about drones. Let's talk about mass surveillance. What topic? What topic should have an impact? What do you do about it? Is there any answer? Is there any answer? Because if somebody comes up here and talks about something and you say you're off topic, well, what else do you want to hear? Because you're doing nothing. You're just a rubber stamp body and a shock absorber for the system. And that's what we're going to do, keep on exposing and disrupting.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Matios Cadena.
Get him.
My name is Matios Cadena with the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition, and I realize this might be folks' first meeting, and one of the guiding principles we have at the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition is that this is not a moment in time, but a continuation of history. And it's in that framing that I want to address the Board of Police Commissioners and their function. Started about a century ago in the 1920s.
He's brilliant.
In response to kind of police controversy, and was supposed to, in name, provide oversight and kind of settle these issues. But since then, there have been outside bodies, outside commissions that have had to deal with controversy after controversy, scandal after scandal that continues to go on. And when we want to talk about the real function of this commission,
Anybody talk shit about the mods, get rid of them.
there are these seemingly benign donations.
Leave my mods out of that shit.
There's one for the canine donation. And it's interesting, whenever there are donations, the vendors are named. In this donation, the vendor isn't named. And so one has to wonder, every canine donation so far has come from Adlerhorst, as a previous caller brought up, a kennel named after Hitler's bunker. And so is this dog from Adlerhorst as well? And it begs the question, why isn't that named? And so just to kind of bring us back to some history about LAPD and their relationship with canines, I want to cite a February 1992 LA Times article that highlights how images were being circulated of people mauled by LAPD dogs. And there was actually a civil suit filed, and the complaint read, hundreds of people, particularly African Americans and Latinos, have been viciously mauled and, grievously injured by police dogs without probable cause. The article even cites, an ER doctor that compared the bites to wounds similar to a gunshot victim. So this is the kind of tradition of LAPD dogs and how they practice. And then we had in November of 1997 another LA Times article that brought up Adlerhorst, the kennel that LAPD gets their dogs from. And the article is titled Riverside Kennel in Focus of Controversy Over Police Dog Bite. And the article primarily talks about the 1990 mauling of Charles Dennis. And I want to just read the opening line of the article where it says, half his nose was gone, a deep gash stretched from his lower lip to his ear, a piece of skin flapped on his cheek. This is the history of LAPD dogs. This is the violence that they're kind of inextricably tied to. And, last year, there were plenty of articles over the controversy over the name of this kennel specifically, that it somehow suggested, ties to white supremacy and white supremacist violence, right? And so, was the solution to end this violence? Is that what the commission did? No, they sanitized it. They just erased the name from the agenda. That's the tactic of this commission. That's what they do. And so today, we have a multi-ethnic board of police
MD, what's up, brother?
signing off on the donation of a dog from a kennel named after Hitler's bunker and the tradition of slave catchers that use hounds to catch black.
This is true.
I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
The next speaker, Minister, Ms. Kelly Clift.
Let's see what you do about that topic about Hitler's dogs, motherfuckers.
This is true. The kennel's is named after Hitler's bunker.
Address the issue of
That's who
police station 251
the
East 6th
LAPD
Street, zip code 914. I am a
gets their
Christian
dogs from.
minister, born female, and short Spanish police officers, female police officers, are using me for some kind of financial gain. I'm a severe victim of crimes, and apparently they know the true settlement money. And I want an entire investigation. These police officers, these females, are impersonating male police officers. A female can't break into my apartment and commit sexual acts, etc., steal from me, steal settlement money, go buy homes in Kern County, buy homes in San Bernardino County. That's my settlement money, and then call me some kind of disability person. I want a full investigation of Police Station 251 East 6th Street, zip code 914. Those female police officers are mimicking male police officers. I don't know them, but apparently they've done their background investigation and they know me, and they know me to be a severe victim of crimes. Rape in the sleep. They know that Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, the history of men coming to California and taking advantage of a Christian black woman because I was a virgin in my 30s. Now something needs to be done about the 1 East 6th Street police station, zip code 914. Those Spanish female police officers cannot commit the crimes that they're committing against me without the authority of the watch commander and the police chief. That cannot take place. Stealing my settlement money, that cannot take place. They've investigated me so they know that I own settlement money. And I want you to know that my lawsuit, Kelly A. Clift versus Los Angeles District Attorney's Office, etc., all Third Amendment, lists prominent defendants who have all been served. However, because I did not have legal representation when the lawsuit was filed, I'm on appeal, and I've appealed it 2 or 3 times. So now, the year 2025, may Jesus Christ bless me with good legal counsel that will not sell me out like accountants and Johnny Depp's, the actor's accountant, sold me out. They lied on me in person, said that they would not accept my case, would not investigate stolen money, and they did act as my accountants. And I just want to remind you that William Bratton, police chief, has passed me on to Princess Diana, King Charles's sons before marriage, rape in the sleep. Now they have children, and the children are running around talking about mental illness. I have a lawsuit against their children.
Rasha, I just need to point out again that, like, you endlessly offer condolences for dead cops, and you never offer a condolence for anybody that the cops shoot. And it's really fucking heartless, and it's really clear whose lives you value and whose lives you don't.
Oof.
At the last meeting, you ruled on the murder of Jason McConney. To refresh everybody's memory, Jason McConney was experiencing a severe bipolar episode when Officer Caleb Garcia Alamia shot him at close range. Even if officers were physically apprehending Jason already, Officer Garcia Alamia was brand new and still on probationary status and was fresh out of the LAPD training, which programmed him to do exactly what he did. So you did rule that murder out of policy. I started wondering what the statistics were. How often are you shooting people in mental health crises? How often are those people carrying no weapon? And how often do you rule those shootings out of policy? What actually happens to the officers who commit out of policy shootings? So I go looking for stats on that. They're not easily accessible, which should surprise nobody. But I did find an article from the LA Times where they reviewed LAPD records from 2018 to 2023, examining over 200 cases in which officers fired at civilians And they also reviewed hours of body camera videos, search warrant affidavits, civil lawsuits. Okay, so behavioral crises involving edged weapons accounted for about 27% of police shootings. Mind you, an edged weapon in this case counts as a plastic fork.
Right.
So that accounted for 27% of your shootings between 2018 and 2023. The officers who fired their weapons had an average of 9 years experience. Shootings of people who had sharp objects, not necessarily weapons, were more likely to end with someone being killed than were confrontations involving suspects armed with guns. Okay? So, seems like that officer did exactly what you trained him to do, which is why your out-of-policy ruling on Jason McConney is completely fucking symbolic. Caleb will more than likely, way more than likely, not lose his job for that. And the reason why we know that actually is a report that you published, Django. A couple years ago, you issued a report called Discipline Resulting from Out-of-Policy Officer-Involved Shootings 2015 to 2020. It examined 45 cases during that time span, which involved 66 officers firing their weapons against department guidelines, which are bullshit to begin with. The report found that in those cases, the officers fired 301 rounds and 228 of those shots were out of policy. Should not surprise you that 42 out of the 54 victims were black or Hispanic. 42 out of 54. 20 of those people died. How many LAPD officers were fired? 1. Sadistic motherfuckers.
Yeah. Excellent.
The next speaker, vote puppet.
She's a badass, guys. She's a badass. Oh, God. Here we go.
Yes, and a happy bad year. Yes, that's right. So we're doing a little bit of an expose. It appears Russia got a big award in the Attorneys of the Year in 2024. And apparently represents some clients
Take care,
involved in
bro.
antitrust violation. Is that right? Is that what you did? See, she,
I appreciate you a
she works
badass.
for a big law firm apparently and takes great credit and great pleasure, but the way that I see it, Russia, I'm just wondering if there were any, did you uncover any crimes, or are you covering that up by attorney-client privilege? So your client had to pay $50 million to settle a little boo-boo. You see, when you buy gas in California, the price gets a little weird. Russia, let's give her a hand. So as you see, 1 compromised and 3 more to go, right? Now, the reason that Jim's numbers are down on burglaries, I witnessed a burglary of a vehicle at 844 South Hoover Street Thursday night, and I called the police department. An hour and 14 minutes on hold, Jim. They wouldn't come out and take a report because I am a puppet and I don't drive and I'm not the owner of the vehicle. Even though the burglar is homeless down the street, they burglarized 7 other vehicles in the area in the last 64 days, Jim. And also the assailant left his cell phone in the back seat, Jim, but your officers wouldn't come out and retrieve the evidence to make the arrest. So you see, Russia, that's why his statistics are so much lower, because they put you on hold for non-emergency services. 877 Ask LAPD Russia takes an average of 45 minutes to an hour and 17 minutes just to get the officer on hold. So most people hang up Russia, and that's why those crimes don't get reported, Russia. That's why they're down, because it's done by design, right, Your Honor? Over there, the judge. Isn't that conspiracy under color of authority, Your Honor? See, that's the problem. I told Jim McDonald, by the way, I think he's a good guy underneath it all, not to take this job, that you'd be spending all that time covering up those dirty crimes, Jim. You're covering up, Jim. So we will say a prayer for Jim McDonald to come back to the side of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, go to the FBI, and turn over all those files, Jim. and take the retirement and the drop payment, and you will be the biggest whistleblower in American history. Thank you.
That from the speaker, Mr. President.
Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 3, consent agenda items. We have items 3A through N. Is there any comments or questions, Vice President Shields?
None for me.
Thank you. Any comments or questions, Mr. Sanchez Gordon? Thank you. Having heard that, I move that we adopt the recommendation for board action on items 3A through N. Is there a second? Moved and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. The commission will now recess into closed session. Thank you.
The Board of Police Commissioners will now recess into closed session to discuss items number
How you doing,
4B,
sir?
4B and 4C in accordance with Government Code 54926.
Everything okay with you?
Fine. We're trying to sell. Okay.
Yeah, I'm live. Yeah.
It's something unrelated.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you got your radio on you? Huh? Got your radio on you? There you go.
No, I'll tell you what it is outside.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm on live. You're probably not outside. I'm gonna go outside, guys. Where are you headed to?
I had the investigator, but I wanted to hear it.
Okay, I'll be around, so I got a couple hours to kill, so.
Can you mute for a second?
Yeah. Oh. Audio off. It's your fault, guys. It's not my fault it was muted. You guys gonna hang out with me for a little while? I got time to kill. Oh, you know what? Let's go walk to the LAPD park. The girl with the stats, the lady with the stats, she's the one who, her shit went viral as hell. Everywhere I look, I was seeing that video pop up. Everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It is so fucking windy out here. Actually, I might just go into council. After I get my Red Bull. Yeah, there were some stats that she brought up that I actually wanted to talk about. Well, first off, Matios was talking about and Hamid were talking about, and they're correct. The kennel that supplies the dogs to the LAPD, the name of that kennel is named after Hitler's bunker. It's like, how does this happen, guys? Like, what are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing? Naming it after Hitler's bunker? Hey, you're breaking the law. That was an illegal U-turn right there. But, you know, it's a cop car, so they can do what they want. It's a cop car. You guys didn't see it, but he busted an illegal U-turn right there. Now, you got to follow the law. Just because you're a cop doesn't mean you can just break the laws, guys. Oh, he's probably a plainclothes cop, but the guy with the thing. Just because you're a cop doesn't mean you can break the law, officer. I'm going to put his face on facial recognition. How you doing, guy? I'm doing great. But you got to follow the laws, follow the rules. That turn was completely illegal. You know that. I wish I could, but you know, instead all I could do, you know what I could do instead? Is I could just throw your face online, find out who you are, and make a profile about you. That's what I could do. What's your serial number? You don't have a serial number? You have a badge number. You don't have to give it to me? Why not? Jim McDonald, why do these guys not have to? This guy's carrying a gun, he's got a badge. He doesn't have to give me his badge number. This guy, he's a Giants fan. That's even the worst team in the NFL on top of it. Anyway, yeah. I'm gonna head over to the city council meeting. And then I gotta go to court in a little while. And guys, I don't really want to talk about any of that bullshit. I'll talk about that bullshit later. I don't feel like being brought into shit. I don't feel like being brought into shit. Not right now. Have I ever seen any positive change? I'm gonna read comments for a little while, guys. Have I ever seen positive change out of these meetings? No, these meetings are bullshit. So listen, these meetings are required. Essentially since, I believe it was in I don't know what year. But, you know, a lot of this has to do with the consent decree, right? This is our civilian oversight board. Civilian oversight board should be, you know, made up of regular civilians, but you can't. It's not regular civilians. Again, it's not like a teachers. It's not the bus drivers. No, it's people like the guy who runs the joint, Errol Southers. He's an ex-police chief. He's police chief, I believe. Where was he at? LAX. Bunch of places. FBI agent. So he's a cop. So he's a cop overseeing a cop. You know, is that in the spirit of civilian oversight? No, obviously not, right? Rasha Shields, she's a ex-prosecutor. An ex-prosecutor, which is essentially law enforcement, right? So they don't actually provide real oversight. And like that one lady was saying, I think it was important to talk about her statistics about edge weapon shootings. Again, you know, so it's frustrating. I think a lot of people don't understand policing very well, I'll be honest with you. Like Eunice Hernandez, she's a council member. I've had arguments personally with her because her approach is stupid. Like she said in her data, 27% of these shootings are against people with edge weapons. And like it said, it could be a plastic fork. I've seen them use it against somebody with a spork, with a screwdriver, with whatever. Those are generally mental health calls. Somebody with mental health who's just freaking out and has something in their hand. And the cops come and say, hey, put that down, shoot him. Where, guys, I walk on Hollywood all the time. I see these same people. You know what I say? It's the way you approach them and stuff. You can get through to a lot of people, but it's not that I'm trained in this. It's just that, I mean, I guess in real life experience, I'm trained in it. But what these people need are not a police officer in those situations. What they need is a clinician. People who know how to deal with people like that, who are experiencing mental health issues. But all too often, and I think it seems like it's the largest percentage of people shot are people who mental health issues who are perceived to have an edge weapon. And so they have these groups called this unit called the mental evaluation unit. You team up a clinician with a cop, right? You have a clinician, and the cop is there just to provide protection for the clinician, and they're not even like a uniform cop. When I see them, they would wear khakis and stuff. And those should be the people who go and deal with people who are experiencing mental health issues. Now, ideally you would want an unarmed response, but you have to protect the clinician. So to me, it's understandable to have a cop that's trained in the de-escalation to be there to provide protection to the clinician. Jesus Christ. But we don't have that. I mean, we have the MEUs, right? So I did a CPRA on this a couple of years to find out what the data is. And we get more and more calls requiring an MEU every year, but yet we decrease the number of MEU units. We went from having 17 to 15 to, I think we have like 11 now, but yet we get more and more calls and they're highly effective. When I've seen them on a scene, I've never seen them fuck up. But and the LAPD says they're highly effective, but yet they keep on decreasing them. Because honestly, it kind of puts them out of business if they do it, you know? If you have this highly effective group that's really just like replacing cops, whatever that is. It's not good for the union. The union doesn't want that, so. I gotta keep my eye because they made me put my book bag over there and there are people over by it. So that's something we need to address. Like I told you guys, I'm gonna be starting like a little podcast thing. It's gonna start, at first it's not gonna be so much a podcast. It's really just gonna be me making videos on random subjects for half an hour, 45 minutes. Essentially riffing like I just did there in the commission meeting. I went in there, I'm like, what am I gonna talk about? There's so much to talk about. I didn't know what I was gonna talk about. The one guy before me said that the police need to show the community a certain respect and talking about morale. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll talk about that. Let's talk about morale. Let's talk about, then he talked about his recruiting, how recruiting's at 8,750, which is, they want the force, not the recruiting, the total force number. They want the total force number to be 10,000 or more. They were talking about 2 years ago, they want to get up to 13,000 for the Olympics. I'm like, you're going to increase the number of cops to 13,000. Then what do you do with them when the Olympics are over? When the Olympics are over, they're still there. Now we still got to pay for them. I mean, where's this money come from? I posted a video on Twitter about just the amount of pure garbage on the street in Hollywood. It's just everywhere. And we've defunded our street services while giving the cops more and more money. This sure has taken a long time. I was happy. I brought 2 shirts just in case because I might get sweaty armpits. Hi, how are you?
This is 152. Do you have awards?
No.
No? Next, please.
Thank you. I'm so. So, yeah, so I'm going to start, like I said, I'm going to start a podcast, but at first it's just going to start with me doing some recording videos, but a lot of screen sharing stuff, going over different issues, just random issues. Now I could talk about police, and it'll be mostly focused on policing, but of course, I'll get into riffing about politicians. Keep that Scientology shit away from it, though. I don't want nothing to do with that crazy ass shit. I'm still walking around with my visitor sticker. Who wants it? Who wants a police department visiting sticker? And so, like I said, it'll start off with me just because I'm going to be playing around with it. I just ordered like the stuff that I'll need for it. Microphone, lighting. It's not going to be all, too much. Then from there, it'll go to a live and, ask questions and stuff. But it'll, like I said, I have a ton of information. If you're into this shit, now it's not for everybody. It would be a lot like when I was in the commission meeting right there and I was just, what was I ranting about? Ruiz. Yeah, I mean, I did a video about him. I needed to do an update video on him because of the stuff I found where they said, the fact that he keeps on beating up the same woman doesn't constitute a pattern of violence because it's against the same woman. What the fuck are we doing here? What are we doing here? It doesn't constitute a pattern of violence because it's against the same woman. So you could beat your wife, as long as you're married to just beat up your wife and your wife only, beat her up repeatedly, well, that's not a pattern. Remember, it's worse than that. I didn't have enough time, but he told this woman, he said, quote, he would just text her, I said, I hope he F's you in the butt. I hope your kids are born with 2 heads. That's what he was texting her. I'm gonna kill both of you. That's what he said to her. He said that to her. What am I talking about here? Again, he pulled her to the side of the concert and grabbed her in the crotch. That's a fucking crime. He should be in jail for that. We shouldn't be talking about what his suspension will be for that. What the fuck are we doing here? And then they're like, okay, well, you wonder why 20, 21%, 22% of cops are women. Why would a woman want to be associated with this force? And like I said, I was in that CPAB meeting. I didn't post. I have some of the video. And the captain, Heredia, was talking about, the media. Media is the reason why we're having a hard time recruiting. Again, they have a woman problem. And it's because they have a situation where one cop raped another cop, right? The woman who was raped was married to, I believe, a captain in the LAPD, and the captain took the other guy's side against his own wife. There's a problem there, guys. There's a serious fucking problem. What are we doing here? And no, we got to give them more money. They have their foundation pays for rent for the first 2 years that they're on the force. They give them $1,000 subsidy a month for rent. They essentially make over $100,000 their first year on the force. All that's required is for them to have a GED. And they're like, we have to improve morale. So McDonnell, he told the captain that the discipline process is unfair. Need to make it more fair. More fair? More fair. They won't get rid of a cop who commits sexual assault against a woman, who beats a woman. He told that woman that on Halloween, she needs to dig up her dead kids and put them on display in their front yard. This guy is working as a senior lead officer now. Senior lead officer is a guy who they're considered like mini chiefs, who handle community engagement. That's who they have as their liaison. That's who they have as their liaison. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? When they got that dinosaur guy, he's like, I'm going to come in here and change morale. When you have a problem with women, the best thing to do is hire like a 95-year-old white guy who helped cover up the Rampart scandal. It makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense, guys. So yeah, I'm going to start playing around with some. My goal is to, like I was saying the other day, if I make a video, say it's a 10-minute long video, that takes me that takes a day and a half, especially when you don't have any actual video to work with, like stock video, when you're stuck taking a picture of a cop and a few documents and trying to turn that into a video. It's a lot of work. Whereas if I'm just talking like I am now, but at my computer showing you individual documents, showing you individual videos, I can do a 45-minute video in 45 minutes. It's like a way more efficient. Commission speakers, man, some of them people are fucking crazy though, right? Not well. There must be something going on at council that's serious because everybody went rushing out of there to come to here. LA City Hall. I'm gonna finish my drink first. I had my coffee this morning, I forgot to bring it, so now when I get home, it's just gonna be separated, like the ice will be a layer of water on top. Rampart's different. I got a lot of information on Rampart. So the Chief McDonald, he was the assistant chief during the Rampart investigation. His job was to try to cover shit up. And he did a great job. 77, just as bad as Rampart, yep. 77, Southeast, I'm sure. Southeast, I'm sure, is... Although places like Hollenbeck and Newton aren't great either, you know? Aaron is using you. Man, I told you keep that shit, guys. Say bye. Don't come in here. Fuck out of here with that shit. As I already stated, I'm fucking pissed off that Aaron brought me back into it again. I thought that shit was over. I said my piece and stuff. Me and DOA had a talk, and it was a pleasant talk, and you know. I will say this, guys. The reason the video is up, first of all, okay, I will say this. I'm gonna say this about DOA, right? As soon as I was done with the video, he called me up. I'm gonna put Jessica in this too, right? I told Jessica, I was like, yeah, as soon as over, DOA called me up, and she's like 100% respect for that. Agreed. Yo, I'm gonna tell you right now, for him to call immediately and stuff, like that's a man. That's a ton of credit for that, man. Didn't try to run and stuff, like. And it was, man, I'm not going to get into details and stuff, but like we came to understand everything's good. I mean, listen, I made the video. It is what it is. And I asked, and here's another thing. I asked guy, I said, you want me to take down the video? And you know what he said? He said, no. Like, for transparency reasons, good for him. Like, I respect, you know what I'm saying? That's not to sound like a misogynist or something, but that's some man shit right there. I will say this, man. I have ranted about a bunch of people. I forgive everybody. I think everybody deserves some grace, right? Everybody makes mistakes. That was my point I was making to him. A lot of stuff is when somebody makes a mistake, we shouldn't call it, you know, that they're planned. People make mistakes. I honestly think that he has learned. I think things will be different. So I'm not saying none of this cancel DOA stuff. No. You take care, sir. Take care. I said what I said. I stand by that. At the same time, show some grace, guys. I'm not even mad. I'm not mad at Aaron making the video either. I'm not mad at those two going at it and fighting it out and duking it out. Knock yourself out. I'm done with it though. I don't really want to be brought into this shit anymore. I mean, that's fair, right? I just don't. Believe it or not, so this was weird. I'm going to talk about this on like economic terms. You know, recessions sound like horrible things, but recessions are actually necessary. I know that sounds crazy, but essentially you have a lot of things that work up in the economy. It's just absolute bullshit, and recessions have a way. All recessions are corrections. You make a correction. Sometimes the correction is painful as hell, and you know, I hate to say it. Sometimes there are like businesses that are just bad ideas that just need to go away. Like, you know, you sell like, I don't know, you're like a lasagna shop and sell surfboards too. Like, what the fuck? People have crazy ideas. I saw one place during the 2008, 9 recession. It was like a drive-through spaghetti restaurant, and apparently the food sucked. but sometimes you need those corrections, and that Scientology movement needs some corrections to get back on point, to focus on Scientology, to cut out the drama. Maybe all this shit is a blessing. What is on the agenda?
Stuff. Today it's not a whole lot of stuff. I just want to get my public comment.
What time is it at?
It's going on now. It may be too late. I need to find out if it's too late.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. If you're gonna give public comment, I'll give it too. I don't know what I'll talk about. I'll talk about Karen Bass. Yes.
Yeah, any of it. Anything.
Yeah. The Rock. I'll whoop The Rock's ass. No, I won't. I mean, I don't know. Just because he's big doesn't mean. Yeah, I'll talk. Yeah, I'll talk to life.
No, we're all streaming.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, thank you so much.
Hold on, guys. Council member in the hallway. No, yours is more important. Because I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. I mean, I'll figure something out.
You just want general public, or you want put out sell some houses. You don't have to put. I just put two. But you don't have to actually.
Yeah.
That way you just get 3 minutes.
Yeah. Something smells good though. Unless there are no speakers here. I did see Hamid and a few of the other, and they just left. So I'm assuming that, you never know, you know? I've seen some crazy stuff happen here. I've seen some crazy stuff. I've seen like brawls in this hallway.
They've actually tried to swat us here. You know it's not even freaking Scientology. It didn't work well.
That's a packed house.
Yes, my name is Jacqueline Cantor. Item number 7, 8, and 9, please. Okay, my name is Jacqueline Cantor of Cantor's Deli in Fairfax. I was born and raised in the neighborhood. I attended Fairfax High School. My family owns Cantor's Deli. I'm the founder and president of the Fairfax Business Association. I'm here to show my...
Where are you sitting at? Are we over here?
I go up there and film because they cut me off at 54.
Right here.
For this project to show my support. That's how important this project is.
Look at, there's my guy, Hugo. I'm gonna tear his ass up.
I urge the city to support this project. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, my name is Chris Wilson with Los Angeles County Business Federation. These are items 8 and 9. Just 2 minutes, go ahead. This Fed, as you know, is and continues to be a strong supporter of development community projects. TBC has played an integral role.
I'll be honest with you guys, I don't even know if I'll speak. I might just skip.
For 70 years. The TBC
I got a cord. I don't feel like getting pissed off.
It remains a world-class studio for decades to come. It will also create good paid jobs, sustainable jobs, both during construction and operation, so that LA remains the creative capital of the world. We can't risk hurting our entertainment industry and further with production moving out of state, the lack of studio and production services. Please join BizFed and the broader business community in supporting TBC 2050 project. Thank you.
Robert Smith, Luis Estrella, Tony Dittenbach, Michael Hackman, Nicole Waldman, Shonda Walkovich, Worship Scientology. All of LA, all items public comment.
Okay, so you have 3 minutes for the items and 1 minute for general public comment. I'm gonna ask you to let us know which item you go ahead.
Well, first I'd like to start with my public comment. I want to remind
Hold your
Bob.
time for a second. So, hold your time for a second. Oh, so I'm gonna ask you to start with the items like everyone else, please, and then you can save your general public comment to the end. Go ahead.
Yeah, my brain works differently. I like to do it the other way around. As far as, okay, all the aqua stuff, I'm all for helping to unhouse, but you guys don't have it together, right? So I don't know what you're doing, but you need to do a better job, especially with this windstorm coming up, if you're helping me unhouse. As far as
Shit, I'll be right back, guys.
Taxi commission person, you know, I'm not for or against. It's just what I'm concerned about, and shout out to Smoke It's Again. Maybe they can agree, they'll all agree with me there.
I gotta pee. I gotta do it before I get back.
Mr. Foster wouldn't have had it removed a long time ago.
Speak to your time at this time. Thank you. Good morning. Can you just please remind us of the name you signed up under, the items you'd like to speak to?
Good morning, my name is David Asturias, I'm from District 10, and I'm talking here, and first of all, thank you all for allowing us to be here.
Which items would you like to speak to?
Luis Asturias.
What was the item for Hakla?
I think like 1 through 5, like,
Okay.
like selling houses or whatever.
Talking regarding Larco.
I forgot, like they didn't have it, so I don't know, but I know it was hot
One
stuff.
minute, go ahead.
So,
1 through 5.
so if you know about like selling houses, you know, like
Oh, I know.
selling houses, so then you can turn it when they say off topic to, oh, well, selling this, you know what I mean?
I could talk about that. There's Karen Bass's.
Be effective.
She doesn't want to rezone areas in South Central that are single-family houses for apartments to increase the number, the supply, because she's afraid it's going to create gentrification. Well, this is, guys, we need more building. We need more affordable housing. We need lots of units, lots and lots. And she's standing in the way of that, which we're never going to
But
control.
she's not standing in the way of North Hollywood. They're putting so many there that they're like, some of them are fighting back. Like, they don't want to spread it around.
In my building,
It's crazy.
people have been
She's a Scientologist too, though.
Yeah. She runs from it now, but
No, I'm calling her. I'm pretty sure I just points it out to her. Not that I don't like, not that I want him to win, but I'm here. You did amazing. All y'all did today. I know that's driving nuts. People come from all over the world.
Hi, Nicole Kuklak Walman, here on behalf of Neighbors for Response to TDC.
I think I'm the only one.
I'm sorry, I think that's 89, take 9.
Okay, so you have 2 minutes for the items. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. On behalf of my client neighbors, I would like to put out there that we really aren't ready to approve the TDC project. We just have 146 pages of changes that we're submitting today, including an error from $5 million to $500,000 activated legal station. Really is subject to public comment and review. We understand there are a lot of pages here, but this project is a studio. It's a solar studio, and only guarantees 160,000 square feet of studio space on a 2 million square foot development.
There's our booted out sign. Here's our biggest SP now.
And we incorporate by reference all the folks who have been up here.
He got
from
kicked out of
Broadcast City,
Scientology.
to the Gilmore team, to the Cruces team, urging the council to please.
guys, I have to go outside and make a phone call, and I'm going to have to cut this off. I'll be back on later. I'll be back at around like 2:33, something like that.
And fair documentation of everything and review of everything. The reality is, putting another
Shout out to the mods. Thank you, guys.